When it comes to our health, we often don't think about our brain the same way that we think about our body. But we know that our brain is extremely important if we want to succeed, be more creative, or more productive. That's why in this video, we're going to talk about 5 habits that are destroying your brain, coming up. If you're new here, my name is Christopher Didian. Welcome to my channel, number one place for peak performance, entrepreneurship, and personal growth. So the first habit that is destroying your brain is a lack of hydration. Now, it is extremely important that throughout your day you're properly hydrated, because if you're not, your brain is just not going to be performing at high levels. In fact, our brain is made of 75% water. So when it is dehydrated, you feel so much more fatigued, you're so much more foggier, you have a hard time focusing and taking proper decisions. So you have to be giving the proper liquid to your body, the proper hydration that it needs to succeed. And when we're talking about hydration here, we're talking about pure water in itself. We're not talking about drinking soft drinks, coffee, and so on. We're talking about pure water. Now, the best way that you could find out how much you should be drinking with your body weight is actually taking your body weight in pounds, dividing that in half, and that number should be what you should be drinking in ounces. So let's take my example. I weigh 145 pounds, cut that in half, that's 72.5, and that's what I should be drinking in ounces, which is approximately 2.2 liters. The second habit that is destroying your brain is multitasking. Now, multitasking is widely misunderstood as a concept. There's a perception that you might think that you're getting more things done so you're more efficient, but it's not true. The word multitasking is actually derived by computers because computers actually have 2 processors. But you and me as a human being, we only have one, and it's our brain. So we're so much more efficient when we concentrate on one task at a time. In fact, there was a study done by the University of California that showed when you're multitasking, your IQ level could drop up to 10 points. Now that's quite significant. Now granted, there's certain tasks maybe you're like, hey, I could still multitask, such as brushing your teeth and watching a YouTube video. Yes, because that's less cognitively demanding. But I can still argue to the point that you're probably not brushing your teeth at the most efficient way possible. So the thing you have to look at over here, as much as possible for your work, be very oriented to do one task at a time. If you see there's some value within this video so far, don't hesitate at all to give me a like, hit that subscribe button, and turn on bell notification to find out when our weekly videos come out. So the third habit that is destroying your brain is not training your brain. Now, your brain wants to be challenged, wants to be in a position to do tough projects, wants to be stimulated. And the more stimulation you give, the more it's going to demand stimulation. It's exactly the same thing as when you go into the gym and you pump iron. The more you do it, the more your muscles become stronger and demand for you to push even more. It's exactly the same thing for your brain. Now, unfortunately, most of the people have a hard time with this because after coming back from work or spending time in the weekend, all we want to do is turn off our brain and not utilize it because we've been utilizing it at work so much. But if we do that consistently and we do things such as binge on Netflix, go on social media, have gossiping conversations, your brain is going to be pushed towards being more lazy and it's going to want to stay there and not be stimulated. So you have to be careful of how much you're doing it. Now, granted, I'm not telling you to do some crazy tough stuff after your work because you still want to have fun. But there are activities that are fun, enjoyable, and it's going to help you grow your brain and stimulate your brain in a positive way, such as reading a book, doing puzzles, having great conversations, watching a documentary, learning a new language. Whatever the case is, these are things that are pleasurable and challenge your brain to grow. So always be cognitively aware of how you're training your brain. The fourth habit that is destroying your brain is pushing too hard. Now, there was this narrative the last several years in the entrepreneur world of like the grind culture, the hustle, working until you can't anymore. Now, granted, if you want to succeed, you have to put in a lot of work, but there's ways to approach it that's going to support your brain and help you out so much more. Now, we know that our subconscious mind works best when our conscious mind is not working. That means you allow your subconscious mind to find the solutions to the problems that you've been working on. And the best way to go about it is to step away from your work. What I suggest, a minimum once per week, you should take a day off, as well as throughout your day when you're working, take a couple of minutes here and there to allow that moment for your subconscious mind to take a breather. That's how you're going to support it. Now, as well, if you're somebody that's extremely ambitious and you're goal driven, that's perfectly okay. But you have to be aware of this, that really try to figure out this balance, because it's only going to support you in the long run. Now, if you're having a hard time figuring out of like, hey, should I be taking a break? I've done a full video to show you guys what are certain signs that, oh my God, you should be taking a break. And I'll link it up here. You guys could check it up as well. The fifth habit that is destroying your brain is sleep deprivation. Now, this is extremely important and big of a subject, because your brain relies on your sleep for a dozen things to recharge itself and to get back in track. From your memory to your learning to your emotional well-being and beyond. So you have to be aware of how you're approaching your sleeping schedule. Because if you have one bad night's sleep and then another one, you're gonna feel it specifically at work and in your emotions and in how you're acting throughout the day in itself. So one way to look at it is, what is your habits currently within your sleep pattern? When you go to bed, you have your phone and you scroll on social media. Is the room not dark enough? Are you too uncomfortable? Do you need a new bed? Whatever the case is, start looking at putting proper habits, such as putting a dark room, not looking at blue lights 30 minutes before you go to bed, sleeping at a scheduled time and waking up at a scheduled time so your body could get used to it, making the room a bit colder, whatever the case is. You have to be very aware of that sleep time, because it is so important for your mental and emotional well-being for your brain. I hope you enjoyed this video and you figured out some habits that you might be doing without even knowing that it's actually destroying your brain. And the question of the day is, what are some of the habits that are positive that you do that support your brain? Comment it down below. Would love to see what the community is going to say on that, and then we'll start a great conversation. Furthermore, there's some more videos over here that could interest you. Over here, you have my playlist on peak performance mindset. Over here, you have my entrepreneurship series. Over here, you have my book review series, and you have my profile picture that you guys can click, subscribe, and join the family. I hope you have a blessed and grateful day.